Hello. Hi. Hi. So yeah, we will be playing that. However, first, scary, scary politics. Am I a political streamer? No. But we're gonna learn about some pretty little politics today. Don't know if y'all been keeping up, but there was a bill that passed through the Senate and today passed through the House just a couple of hours ago. It is called by the Republicans the Big Beautiful Bill, and officially it is the Big Beautiful Bill Act. I like to call it the Big Booty Cheeks Bill because it is pretty booty cheeks. And we're gonna just take a look at it today because I was talking to my coworkers, and they were just like, "Yeah, no, I don't know anything about that. What are you talking about?" I was like, "Well, you might lose your insurance because of this. Do you not know about that?" She's like, "No, I don't know anything about that." So I think it's great. I think we need to. I think we need to talk about it. Just so that way you guys are informed. You can take care of yourselves. And I'm constantly been trying to look up more about it. It's a lot. It is a lot. So I have several different sources pulled up here. Played hand from Story as well as the other stuff. Yeah. Well, honestly, a lot of my family and friends are Republicans, and it's really sad because it's just they're so uninformed and they're so blinded by their own greed and just being like, well, I'm white and privileged and this doesn't affect me. They don't think they're privileged, but they are. And they're just like, well, I'm white and I'm chill and like these things don't affect me, so why should I care? I'm not getting deported. Baby. U.S. citizens, it's already happening. Getting detained and deported. But anyway, that's the topic for another day. This bill has passed in the Senate. It is an extension of Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which is ending this year. So if you didn't like the tax plan that we were on previously, it was Trump's, not Biden's. Let's just clarify that. He made it what year? We can look up what year, in fact. I wrote it down. 2017. He made it in 2017 during his first presidential run. If you didn't like it, it's just getting extended now. Congrats. So this will make the tax cuts permanent. There is going to be more spending on border security, defense, and energy production. The bill is paid for by cuts, here it is, by cuts to the healthcare and nutrition programs, meaning that the government will no longer be funding the government-funded healthcare. So Medicaid, Medicare, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, which provides food for many people. These will be either severely underfunded or will be cut. We'll have to see. The bill will be adding $3.3 trillion to federal debt over the next 10 years. So it may not install right away, but it will be over the next 10 years. About 17 million people may lose insurance, including me, and probably many of you. There will be a few things that were removed. These are a few things that were removed, that this is what they tried to pass. Now, I know you mentioned AI. This is what they tried to pass, and it was actually refused. In order to sell public lands, as well as they could have paused state regulations on AI. Yeah, so they are going to make regulations AI. If you haven't heard also, a couple of YouTubers and people who work in the industry are now joining together. Matt Pat talked about it. Why is Matt Pat in our government? Matt Pat politician. What's the program that he's under now? Political advisor role, Creator Economy Caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives. It's a bipartisan group. Ensure creators are respected as a legitimate business, and it's also, they've mentioned that they're going to bring up AI and talk about AI regulation. Medicaid. If you don't know what Medicaid is, because I don't know how young some of y'all are if you don't manage your own insurance, Medicaid is government-sponsored health care for low-income and disabled. The legislation has work requirements for able-bodied adults and more frequent eligibility checks. Now, this is something that I've heard my own family, Republicans, they talk about like, oh, that's so good, man. We got to get them people back to work. They are just stealing money. A lot of people on Medicaid and Medicare are children, are people, again, with disabilities who cannot work. They just can't. So while you're living your capitalist dream, other people are unable to participate in that. For frequent eligibility checks, this means that, while on paper it sounds good, I know that in the UK they've done this as well, where they're doing checks. Well, here's the thing. I did go on Fox News today. I was like, I'm just curious to see what people like my parents are seeing, because I don't think that they're hearing what's really in this bill. And again, we're going to go through a couple articles in a second. But I talked to my parents and I looked at Fox News. They were only talking about very specific parts of the bill where they are including some things for people who work overtime. Or, I just had it pulled up. There are very, very small positive things, but it is greatly outweighed by the negatives. And again, it's like, oh, you won't be taxed on your overtime, but the fact that we have to work overtime to make a living, that's already the problem. No tax on tips. Yeah. That's fine. That's cool. Again, that is all Fox News reported, though. They're like, how will this bill, literally, they have an article, you can go look it up, it says, how will this new bill affect working Americans? And that is all that they've talked about. It didn't bring up that you might lose your insurance, that your children may not be insured, that you may be turned away from the doctors and from emergency rooms, because our emergency rooms do not help you if you are not insured. If you have nothing like this to back you up, they will not help you. A lot of people will be denied medicine, including me. For people on SNAP, they will not be able to get food. It's terrible. Our debt, for Republicans who are so concerned about money and debt, they sure did just take on $3 trillion. They also wanted to cut federal funds to states that use Medicaid infrastructure to provide health care coverage to undocumented immigrants, and banning Medicaid from covering gender transition services, but the Senate determined that this is not in compliance with Senate reconciliation rules. I'm not sure how the House voted on that, though. We'll see. So now, that's all I have written down. That's what I've just wrote down, like, in a flurry. But, basically, they were trying to take away insurance for undocumented immigrants. I don't know what's going to happen with that, if they are going to be able to do that. But let's see. PBS News. Here's what's in the big bill that was just passed in the Senate. Well, I would like one from today, actually. June 3rd. Because every day it has been changing. Let's see. I don't really want to see it in. Let's see it in. I just need, like, a summary. A comprehensive. Here we go. Holland & Knight, I don't know this outlet. I've never used them before. But we'll see. God, this is bright. Do we have something to not make this so bright? Hello? I guess not. Okay. Donald Clinton makes America great again. In every single speech, he actually took that true. Outside amendments to bills presented by a local rep. It was a simple veteran bill issue, but the amendments included racism, transphobia, and the same amount of focus on funding. Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of these amendments and stuff and bills, people, like, in a broad sense, it may sound like something nice. Like, oh, well, that sounds good. But there's a lot of deals being made behind the scenes. There's a lot of changes that they'll slip in really quick. Just today, over 100 new laws were made for Georgia. Just Georgia. I can't imagine other states. But a lot of things went into effect just this past week. It was insane. Some good, some not great. Some really not great. So I went through a couple today of the ones that are in Georgia, some of the big stuff. And it literally was just talking about how it was like all these great things. And then, boom, transgender people cannot play the sport that they identify with the gender that they identify with. And it's like, oh, ew, that's ew. Great. Okay. Let's go over here, though. We're talking about the big, beautiful Booty Cheeks bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act was passed by the U.S. House of Representatives through a dramatic 218 to 214 vote. I believe in the Senate it was 51 to 50, with J.D. Vance being the tiebreaker. And this was today. It's landmark legislation representing the cornerstone of Donald Trump's second term domestic agenda, emerged from months of intensive negotiations, structured as a budget reconciliation package to circumvent traditional filibuster requirements. The bill integrates policy priorities from across 10 Senate committees into a unified legislative framework designed to fundamentally realign federal priorities with the administration's economic and social vision. The extraordinary breadth and ambition of this package to make it one of the most consequential pieces of legislation in recent congressional history. When signed into law, because it's not if, it's when signed into law by President Trump, the legislation will deliver more than $1.5 trillion deficit reduction and reshape federal policy. Let's see. Healthcare. Okay, are we gonna actually expand on this? No, never mind, they don't. Hold on. It's hard to find a good article these days. Where is my boy? CBS, where you at? My boy. My sweet boy. No. Next time. Did I have this pulled up? I thought I read this. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I tried to pull up some stuff before, but I'm just not as good as Hassan, bro. I'm not as prepared as these other political people. Okay, yeah, this is updated now. Big beautiful bill. Open a new tab. Oh boy. Right, I just got, okay, wait. 940 pages of it. Oh, here we go. Oh, here it is, boys. Oh, here it is. So, if you would like to read through the whole thing, I will not sit here and read through the whole thing on stream. I've already read quite a bit of it, though. It is accessible online. I know I just used it through CBS. If you just click the link here, a lot of news outlets are doing this, so you can actually go read it for yourself. You can go through and just read. Read it all. It's a lot. So, you know, it's a cute little budget. 940 pages. Here we go. Look at this. Like, insane. My God. And what they want is they don't want people to read through it. And in fact, a lot of people who voted in the House and Senate, people have come out and said, oh, I didn't read all that. I ain't reading all that. Our lawmakers have come out and said, oh, I didn't read the whole thing, I just voted for it. And they were probably paid to. And you know what, 940, that is a lot of pages. But when you are making a law for our country, it's kind of important that you do. And you take your job seriously. And it's depressing that we have people who won't even read. Like, you went to law school. Come on, you can do it. Extension, here it is. This is what I read, pretty much. This is pretty much what I read earlier. But... Okay, yeah, so this is literally the webpage that I used yesterday, but it just got updated. See where that Medicaid funding. This bill also includes a rural hospital stabilization fund after some GOP senators expressed concern. Okay, so I think this is good. I think that's good. Because I do remember them talking about that with the Senate, where at first they were saying that, like, rural hospitals were going to be shut down. So I'm glad if they did fix that, that's great. But that's also the bare minimum. Because, like, where I live, we have one hospital. It's 45 minutes away from me. And it's like an hour away from my hometown. That's the closest hospital to any of us. That's it. That's all we got. We don't really get hospitals near us that actually, like, you know, that have good operations. That's pretty much, yeah, that's it, Choco. Legislation includes more than $4.6 billion for border wall construction. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Like, this number for a border. The same border wall he's been talking about since 2015, really. $45 billion to expand detention capacity for immigrants in custody. Oh my god. $30 billion in funding for hiring, training, and other resources for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So, even more ICE officers. It also includes a minimum $100 fee for those seeking asylum, down from the $1,000 fee outlined in the initial House bill. Okay, so they did change that. The Senate parliamentarian ruled out the $1,000 fee for anyone applying for asylum. Package. Increasing the state and local tax deduction, or SALT. Love all these little anagrams. Is that what's called, anagrams? Package also includes an increase to the cap on the state and local tax deduction, raising it from $10,000 to $40,000. 5 years, it will return to $10,000. Green energy policies. I won't read this. Deduct other state and local tax from federal taxes. Keys and caps argue that 10,000 cap is increasingly impacting middle-class homeowners who live in regions where property taxes are rising. Green energy policies. The final bill passed by the Senate would largely terminate numerous tax incentives from the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act for clean energy, electric vehicles, and energy efficiency programs. In tax credits for new and used electrical vehicles, installation of home EV charging equipment. The bill also ends the greenhouse gas reduction fund. Oh my god. Which gives funding to nonprofit organizations providing finances for projects that reduce pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. Existing contracts and grants under the program are not affected, but again, like, that's only the existing ones. Restrictions on food stamps. The bill still shifts the cost of SNAP or food stamps into some states. The program is currently fully funded by the federal government. Alright, that was kind of up in the air the other day. The federal government would continue to fully fund the benefits for states that have an error payment rate below 6%, beginning in 2028. States with error rates above 6% would be on the hook for 5% to 15% of the cost. States are also given flexibility in calculating their share. The package also aligns with the initial House version on age requirements for able-bodied adults to qualify for SNAP benefits. Currently, in order to qualify, able-bodied adults between 18 and 54 must meet work requirements. So, mental disability. This is where it's going to get hairy. It depends on if the person that you're working for declares that you are physically fit. Doesn't really matter about mentally. So, a lot of people with autism, for example, we'll see. Both the Senate and I mentioned I did, by the way, I will say I mentioned autism specifically because that is something that I have, so it's something I know more about. This does affect other disabilities as well. Both the Senate and House bills would update the age requirement to 18 and 64, with some exceptions for parents. So if you're under 18, good luck. Alaska and Hawaii could receive waivers for work requirements if it's determined that they are making a good faith effort. Hello, Mr. Mental. We're going over the big booty cheeks bill that was passed in the House today and passed in the Senate the other day. It's on its way to Trump. He will pass it, and it will become law. Hit the poor bill, yeah! Because, yeah. Did y'all go to hell and ask the devil what to write on that? Yeah. You know, and it's so sad because a lot of Republicans claim that this is Christian, that they're Christian. But then also will take from the poor when the Bible specifically says not to do that, and will take away from people who need to eat, from saving the world, from greenhouse gas reduction, and energy efficient things. Like, I do want to clarify, like, I've said on here a lot, I'm a Christian, but I will never align with these people. I just don't. What they teach in the church, we talked about this the other day, there's a lot of indoctrination that goes on, even in your just local Baptist church, or really your local modern Protestant churches. A lot of them have just a lot of indoctrination going on, and it's just so sad to see. It is terrible to see, because this is not the way Jesus lived his life. It's not. This is disgusting. This is stuff he used to flip tables over. There's a pastor I saw recently who was talking about it, and he was saying, like, this, he was giving examples about what happened in the Bible, and people were agreeing, and he was like, yeah, so compare this to what's going on right now. Do you think that Jesus would be okay with this? Isn't that the man that you're following? Obviously not. You are following yourself, and you're reading this Bible, taking it, and using it for your own good. And it's disgusting, because you want to take something that you consider a holy text and make it into something evil. My own family does that. It's disgusting. Addressing the debt limit. The legislation would raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Going beyond the $4 trillion outlined. So remember when Trump in his campaign was talking about, like, the debt and, like, oh, we're gonna fix the debt. We're gonna fix these things. $1 more trillion can't be that bad. Come on now. $1 more trillion can't be that bad. It's just $1 trillion. Can you even you cannot fathom that amount of money. My God. Congress faces a deadline to address the debt limit later this summer, so we'll have to see what's going on with that. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has urged Congress to address the debt limit by mid-July, so maybe sooner than we think, saying that the U.S. could be unable to pay its bills as early as August. Yippee. By addressing the debt ceiling as part of the larger package, Republicans in Congress aim to bypass negotiating with Democrats on the issue. Awesome. That's great. Unlike most other legislation in the Senate, the budget reconciliation process that governs the package requires a simple majority rather than the 60-vote threshold to move forward with the bill. God, man. It's not that far. No. It is not that far. That is a month. That is now officially a month from now. I'm telling you, when I want you guys to start, I get nervous looking at the news. I do. And I'll admit, like, it's not exactly something I look forward to, looking up on the news and seeing what's going on. But we need to be informed. We need to start looking into this stuff. And that's why I started talking on stream more, because literally I go to work, my coworkers don't know what's happening. And I'm like, well, I wonder if people on my stream do. And, like, I would love to start stream and pretend like everything's fine. But our country is crumbling. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. If no one else does, like, it's going to just go over our heads. Whoop-de-doo, nothing's going on. And oh my God, now there's concentration camps. Oh my God, now we have a dictator. Child tax credit. Current 2000 child tax credit is set to return to the pre-2017 level of $1,000 in 2026. The tax credit will permanently increase to $2,200 under the bill, $300 less than the initial House-passed hike, and this is when we have inflation on the rise. limits on overtime and tips deductions. The bill would allow individuals to deduct a certain amount of tip wages and overtime from their taxes. Only a certain amount, okay. Provisions would expire in 2028. Hello? Oh, why didn't it play TTS? I didn't hear it. Hi, Corniculus. My mom knows what's going on because she dealt with tariffs at work and it caused so much at the beginning of the year. She still doesn't vote, doesn't think it matters. Even Trump was saying one time he wants to turn America into the next North Korea. Thank you, it's ridiculous. Thanks. I mean, yeah, I don't know how y'all feel about it, and I know that, like, people don't want to watch this. I'm aware my viewers do not care about this. Majority of my viewers don't really care about this kind of stuff. But it's just, I can't sit by anymore. I was one of those people who just, like, didn't talk about it, didn't think about it for the longest time, and I deeply regret it. So, while I have somewhat of a platform, not really, but, you know, somewhat of one, I want to just make it known and, like, help. Let's educate each other. Let's learn more about what's going on in our country. How can we stop it? Which, by the way, July 4th is tomorrow. A lot of protests will be going on. I encourage you to peacefully protest. I will be peacefully protesting throughout, and don't stop after one. Just because the No Kings, you know, that big one is done, they'll be doing and conducting more protests. Other people will be organizing more protests. I encourage you to peacefully protest. I'm adding in peacefully there for legal reasons. For legal reasons, peacefully protest, guys. I can't read that message out loud, hobo. But yeah, I don't know if you guys are aware, but like going online and encouraging will get you in trouble nowadays. For cutting watermelon. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Choco. I don't live anywhere near them particularly. I have to drive quite a bit. But if you can eventually, or honestly just provide online support, show that you're like, hey, I can't make it, but man, I'm supporting you guys. Or like, I also disagree. Talk about it. Make your voice heard. Call. It doesn't do much good to call your representatives. Let's be honest. They're all getting paid to make their decisions. But do something. Call them. Make statements online of this is my testimony. Here's what I'm going through. This is how my government is fucking me over. Talk about it. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't do that. Yes, you may, Hobo. Please do. Drive a little bit. Yeah, I have to drive everywhere for the protests that I go to. And I also have to be careful about like where they are, what time. I usually can't stay too late, especially like if it's gonna be in like Savannah. You gotta be kind of careful because things can get rowdy in Savannah. So also just be aware of wherever you go to protest. Be safe. Take precautions. I actually wrote down protest tips. If you would like, I could go through them. I can go through some of my protesting tips. The no tax on tips. Let's read this really quick. Limits on overtime deductions. This bill will allow individuals to deduct a certain amount of tip wages and overtime from their taxes. The no tax on tips provision in the spending bill would create a new deduction for tip workers, eliminating what they owe in federal income tax. This is a positive, I think. Tip workers would still have to pay Gosh darn it, they got us for that one. The Senate version varies from the initial House-passed provisions on a few key points, including how much a worker would claim in deductions. The Senate proposal limits the deduction on $25,000, while early House version was uncapped. The initial House measure, meanwhile, only people with annual income of, oh my god. So this is the initial ones. That means that it's changed. But oh my god. Only people with this income would have qualified. Bro, I make $10,000 a year. That's not good. While the Senate version phases out benefits for individuals whose income exceeds. Oh my god! Oh no. Oh no. So it's like Foxy's about like, oh my god, guys, we're getting tax break. Let's go. Oh, or less. I'm sorry. But still, that's so much. I read it wrong. Okay, hold on. I read it wrong. I thought it was saying you have to make that. Oh my god, I'm so tired, y'all. I'm so sorry. I had to clean dorms today. I'm dying. Y'all just pardon me. My reading skills are not up to par today. Okay. 160 or less would qualify. That's what I needed to know. Okay. I'm sorry. I cannot read. They exceeds 150 or couples whose income exceeds. Got it. Got it. It phases it out. I wonder how they're going to phase it out. Changes to standard deduction. The bill seeks to permanently expand the basic standard deduction, which is nearly doubled in 2017. The increases will expire at the end of the year. Basic standard deduction. So what is the basic standard deduction? Or am I stupid? Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Nerd wallet. A portion of income that is not subject to tax. Okay. Expired at the end of the year, so I don't wonder what they'll do about that. So they've slipped in some positives, so that way, like, you know, places like Fox News can talk about it and be like, guys, look how great this is, guys, look how great. But there's so many other things. A lot of, you know, there's going to be a very large increase in deportation, and there's been a lot of discussion. I need to research it more before I talk about it on here, because I want to make sure that I'm not, like, leading people astray. But there's been a lot of people talking about what is happening to people once they are deported, flying them over the ocean and maybe getting dropped, bodies washing up on the coast of Spain, obviously El Dorado. Is that what's no, not El Dorado. Oh my god, El Salvador. I'm so sorry. El Salvador. Now, I'm gonna look more into that, because I don't know. I don't think there will be a way for us to know, because obviously they're gonna cover their tracks and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I saw something about that. If you guys want to look into it as well, I'm gonna be looking up into it. I just wanted to talk about that bill, because if you guys use Medicaid or Medicare, it will be affected. Whoever reports that something disappears. No. I'm just gonna see if this other one. New money for national defense appropriations. Yep. Sorry, I'm just reading over an article to see if there's anything else we can cover. That was a very brief summary. There's more to it. But that was just very, very brief summary. It would boost $2,000 child tax credit to $2,200. Millions of families at lower income levels would not get the full credit. There's scores of business-related tax cuts, including allowing businesses to immediately write off 100% of the cost of equipment and research. The wealthiest household would see a $12,000 increase from the legislation, which would cost the poorest people $1,600 a year. Middle-income taxpayers would see a tax break of $500 to $1,500. So we talked about money for deportations. Here it is. To help partly offset the lost tax revenue and new spending, Republicans aim to cut back on Medicaid and food assistance for the poor. let's talk about this. This is what I really wanted to get into because this is something that's affecting a lot of people, and I don't think they realize that it's going to affect them. So Republicans argue that they are trying to right-size the safety net programs for the population that were initially designed to serve mainly pregnant women, the disabled, and children, and root out what they describe as waste, fraud, and abuse. The package includes a new 80-hour-a-month work requirements for many adults. Oh Lord. Receiving Medicaid and food stamps, including older people up to age 65. Parents of children 14 and older would have to meet the work program's work requirements. This would be whoever they deem able-bodied. And again, we'll have to see who they're deeming as able bodies. Trump is a fascist, genocidal, Israel-loving dictator who rivals the evil people like Hitler. The fact that people are watching the most powerful country in the world dissolve into third-world living conditions while the rich oligarchs live in luxury and are still denying the similarities to Hitler or to safe sport. Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. There's also a new proposed $35 copayment that can be charged to patients using Medicaid services. Wow. Okay. More than 71 million people rely on Medicaid, which expanded under Obama's Affordable Care Act, and 40 million use the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Most already work. So, I'm going to admit something that I used to be really ashamed of, and I don't know if I talked about it on stream or not. I'm one of the people getting this. I work 30 to 40 hours a week on minimum wage, and I cannot afford groceries. I'm one of the people on this. I work full time, and I have autism, and I have ADHD. They might take it away. They might. I recently got a letter from them just a few days ago that said that we're going to have a meeting soon, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford food now. That's also why I want to talk about it, not just because it's affecting me. It's going to affect many people. I think I can make it work, but people like me who work full time may get it taken away. We already work. Most already work. And just to let you know, hello, Red Black M98. This is not usually what I do. I don't usually talk about politics, but today we are just going over the big booty cheeks bill that passed today in the House. But yeah, I don't usually talk about it because I find it, like, I hate to say shameful because it's really not a shameful thing. It shouldn't be. But, you know, we are shamed for being on it. But I know that I work 30 to 40 hours a week. I know that I'm doing the best I can. I've applied everywhere else to see if I can get paid higher. And no one wants me. Yippee, you know? Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, most of your DFACS, Department of Family and Children Services, who are the ones who supply the SNAP program, most of them are very cynical. They do not care about you. I say this because I have family members who work there. And they've voted for Trump, and they've told me how all these people are just lying and abusing the system, and oh, these people are like, you know, we need to cancel it for all of our clients. Wow, I thought your job was to help people. I thought your job was to... Where are y'all people coming from? Hello? Hi. Okay, yeah, we're just talking about politics. Case and Nick Mock Sammy 1. Hello. We're just going over the big booty cheeks bill, and also about how a lot of your people who work for DFACS, they do not care about you. They don't. They're, you know, the newer ones, the newer employees, they might be like, yeah, I'm just here to help people. I know people in this system. I'm friends with people in this system, not really anymore, but they've outright told me that they don't think most of their clients should have it, even if they are on disability for mental issues. They're like, oh, well, they could work somehow. If I have to work, they have to work. Da 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 da. A very capitalist mindset. It's disgusting to see, because they just have no empathy. Their brains cannot comprehend being kind to someone or just providing for those in need. And again, most of these people will claim to be Christian. For new chatters, I am a Christian. I'm disgusted by these people. Things are really, really bad right now, which I plan on leaving the country. I'm going to the UK, which, not great, but better than here. And then from there, we'll see where we go. The Congressional Budget Office estimates, what the freak? The Congressional Budget Office estimates that 11.8 million more Americans would become uninsured by 2034 if the bill became law, and 3 million more would not qualify for food stamps, known as SNAP benefits. Again, I work 30 to 40 hours a week. I'm going off of minimum wage because they refuse to pay me anything more. I've been there for 4 years and I will not get a raise. And they've already sent me a letter saying that we need to have a meeting. It might be getting canceled. Republicans are looking to have the states pick up some of the costs for SNAP benefits. We cannot afford it. Currently, the federal government funds all benefit costs. Under the bill, states beginning in 2028 will be required to contribute a set percentage of those costs if their payment error exceeds 6%. Underpayments and overpayments. Oh boy. Yippee. So that's like it's probably going. That's a very low percentage. But the state bill temporarily delays at the start date of that cost sharing for states. Highest SNAP error rates. Alaska has the highest error rate in the nation at nearly 25%, according to the Department of Agriculture data. She fought for the exception. She has the divisive vote in getting the bill through the Senate. This is someone who I watched her talk. She was just like, oh guys, like I'm really, just trying to take care of my people and I'm looking out for them. And then I think they described it as quietly but decidedly voted yes, after her people were pleading for her not to. I was just something last week. The minimum wage didn't change since 2009. That's crazy when I realized. Exhibits will talk positively about U.S. politics. Doesn't matter if they're in charge. Oh yeah, no, they're both bad. Everybody's Catholic since a little kid and have been distrustful to the Catholic Church and how it worked. Remember sort of Magdalene laundries. Yeah, thankfully stopped existing in Ireland years ago. Discussing sad what happened there. Absolutely. They removed the Alaska exceptions anyway. Yeah. Right. Ugh, cannot stand politicians. A death sentence for clean energy. We talked about this earlier. Maybe this will provide more. Republicans are proposing to dramatically roll back tax breaks designed to boost clean energy projects fueled by renewable sources such as energy and wind. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a man recently who made working fuel from plastic. They are going to be coming for this man's head. I'm going to tell you now. They are going to come for this man's head. Mom voted for this, and this is probably what kills her. She has cancer and was already struggling for the premiums. I wish no one ever... Oh. Case, that is awful. We are going through similar situations in my family where, we have... Not only for people in the hospital, think about nursing homes. I have a family member in the nursing home right now. We don't know if she's going to be able to stay because of this bill. We'll have to see, but it's not looking good. Yeah, he's already dead at this point. I know. I feel, and he had a ton of people recording it when he was testing it, and he was saying I am not suicidal in any way. I am a healthy individual. There is nothing wrong with me. If I die, it was not me. And I think that's just, it's sad. It was funny, people were making fun with it, but it's also really sad that we have to say that. The tax breaks were a central component of President Joe Biden's landmark bill focused on addressing climate change, lowering healthcare costs. So great, guys. So great. I can't wait for our ozone layer to just, Democratic Oregon Sen. Ron Wyden went so far as to call the GOP visions a death sentence for Americans' wind and solar industries and an inevitable hike in utility. No, not my utility! My utility bill! I'm so sorry, Turtle. Turtle, don't fall. So, I can barely pay my bills. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be so great. If my utility bill goes up, that's actually I think my highest bill right now. Because I got like a pretty cheap internet plan, and I make sure to not use a lot of power. So my power and my internet bill are really not high at all, but my utility bill, that's the highest thing I have already. My God. And then, I'm sure, honestly. Think about people who need insurance for mobility aids. I know. The health system, there's no other country is that health system. That's crazy. What do you guys do when you're sick? Tough it out. Legitimately, when I get sick, I don't go to a doctor because I can't afford it. I wish the people who caused death with legislation were persecuted just as harshly as those who commit violence with their own hands. Absolutely. Guess I'll die. Literally, when I had, Hobo, you remember, I was on the phone with you when I had COVID a couple months ago. And I had I didn't even have, like, a thermometer in the house. But I know I was, like, delirious with fever. And I thought I was dying. I was dying. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't. But then, I couldn't afford to go to a doctor. So someone got me a COVID at home test. I took that. Just took a lot of Mucinex. And prayed. Prayed for the best. Yeah, we still yeah. Everybody's going through a rough time. A tax break for people who buy new or used electric vehicles will expire. Yay! Instead of at the end of 2032. So, all the people who are kind of banking on like 2032, that's when it will expire. Nope. September this year, you got 2 months. You have 2 months. In Nigeria, both education and healthcare are free. I wish. Oh my God, I wish. I'm so deep in student loans right now. Meanwhile, a tax credit for the production of critical materials will be expanded. Really? Coal used in steel making. Give it up, folks. Trump savings account, and so much more. A number of extra provisions reflect other GOP priorities. The House and Senate both have a new children's saving program called Trump Accounts, with a potential $1,000 deposit from the Treasury. The Senate provided $40 million to establish Trump's long-sought National Garden of American Heroes. There's a new excise tax on university endowments, a $200 tax on gun silencers and short-barreled rifles and shotguns was eliminated. So it's easier to get them now. Right? Am I reading that right? Am I reading that right? It's hard to reply on mobile. Don't worry about it. Oh, I'm aware. I have to pay for my antidepressants every month. Yeah. I would definitely consider a solid backup plan checkup. A bunker could be a good idea as well. But yeah, Hobo and I are going to get married. No, I'll just go over there. One provision bars money to family planning providers, namely Planned Parenthood. Bars money. While $88 million is earmarked for a pandemic response accountability committee. Another section expands the radiation exposures compensation. Oh my god. My speech impediment is really trying to come back, y'all. A hard fought provision from GOP Sen Josh Hawley of Missouri for those impacted by nuclear development and testing. Thanks, bro. Billions would go for the Artemis moon mission and for the exploration of Mars, because let's just abandon one planet for another. And additionally, a provision would increase the national debt limit by $5 trillion, we remember this, to allow continued borrowing to pay already accrued bills. $5 trillion, baby! $5 trillion! Last minute changes. This is what I need to know. Yes. The Senate overwhelmingly revolted against a proposal meant to deter states from regulating artificial intelligence. So that's a good thing. Republican governors across the country asked for... I'm gonna read Willie. I don't know what that means. Oh. Hold up. Don't show me psychology. Temporary prohibition activity. Oh no. It's... The Senate overwhelmingly revolted against proposals meant to deter states from regulating universities. I don't think my brain is working right now. Yippee! Hello? Red Black M98. Hello. Thank you for following while I'm having like a brain fart. I've been cleaning all day. It's been hot outside. So I'm dead on my feet. I'm trying to like understand what this is saying. Asked for the temporary prohibition of activity who be removed. Incentive votes to do so. Bid against regulation on AI. Got removed. Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought, but I was like, am I reading this right? I'm stupid, y'all. Bid against regulation on AI. Okay. We really need them to do something about it. So say something longer than the AIs, which removed. Yes. My word. Provision was thrown in at the final hours that will provide $10 billion annually to rural hospitals for 5 years, or $50 billion in total. The Senate bill had originally provided $25 billion for the program, but that number was up to win over holdout GOP senators and a coalition of House Republicans, warning that reduced Medicaid provider taxes would hurt rural hospitals, so they did change this. The amended bill was also stripped out new tax on wind and solar projects that use a certain percentage of components from China. What's the final cost? Altogether, the Congressional Budget Office projects that the bill would increase federal deficits over the next 10 years by nearly $3.3 trillion from 2025 to 2034. Or not, depending on one does the math. So we'll have to see. It might not be exactly that number, but we'll see. The Senate Republicans are proposing a unique strategy of not counting the existing tax breaks as a new cost, because those breaks are already under current policy. Republican senators say that the Senate Budget Committee chairman has the authority to set the baseline for the preferred approach. Under the alternative Senate GOP view, the bill would reduce deficits by almost $500 billion over the coming decade. Democrats say this is magic math that obscures the true cost of the tax breaks. Some nonpartisan groups worried about the country's fiscal trajectory and are siding with Democrats in that regard. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says Senate Republicans are employing an accounting gimmick that would make Enron executives blush. Now, there's one thing I wanted to look up really quick. I'm just looking up one thing that I heard, and I want to make sure it was true. I don't see it, so I'm gonna wait to talk about that. But just also the point of this, be careful where you get your information as well, because if you go on things like Fox News and sadly even the whitehouse.org or .gov, it is false information, very, very skewed, only talks about the slight bit of positive stuff slipped in there, because that gets to be what they can talk about in the news and not cause trouble, but it's a rough bill. It is a rough bill. It's going to change so much. It's going to affect so many things. And now it may not affect things as soon as you might think. A lot of it is going... It's like going on the Wikipedia. Yeah, it is. Extremely skewed. Because I even went on Fox News earlier. I mentioned this. I was like, I just want to see like what my parents are reading and what they're hearing. And they don't talk about any of the negatives at all, because there are just factually negative things with this bill. They didn't even mention Medicaid or Medicare. They didn't talk about it at all. They did not talk about food stamps. All it was like, oh yeah, if you guys, you get tax break on your tips and overtime. Yay! Yay, money! That is all they care about. Oh, and yeah, they did talk about immigration because they are racist. Yeah, that's true. The article that I read didn't, but my parents are aware of that, and like other Republicans I know. I use my parents as a basis just because I go home and interact with them often, and that's like, they're a good survey, a good plot point, you know. If we consider the U.S. to be a fascist country, no, it is, yeah. We at this point have to act carefully. So again, when I was talking about protesting, I'm going to say for legal reasons online to protest peacefully, but I do encourage you to protest. I'm not going to sit here and say don't. Just also be aware of it. I did want to share my protest tips. I wrote these out the other day. Come on, turn now. Right, so peacefully. I encourage you to bring water, protein snacks, sunscreen, wear a mask because you are going to be in a giant group. Wear a mask also for other reasons. Goggles if you can, or sunglasses because there will be tear gas in a lot of locations. A medical kit in case someone gets injured or in case you get injured. Gloves are great for the tear gas. Change of clothes because you might get stuff on you, and also because afterwards you're going to want to change. An American flag, it was used at some protest, so that's something a lot of people are doing. If you wanted to take an American flag, it kind of shows that like, hey, we're Americans protesting America. A lot of people have been doing that. That is totally up to you. This part will be uploaded. Usually I cut out when I talk about politics, I'll be honest, I usually cut it out of the YouTube VODs because I'm never sure if, like, I'm doing it correctly. I always feel like I'm very new to this, talking about it online, and, like, I'm reading a lot about it. Hobo, do not publicly post that you'll be at protests. Do not leave public evidence that you're going there. Do not do that. And that's why, again, I keep saying legally I'm encouraging you to go. I will not say if I have or have not been. I will not say if I will or will not be going. I will not be talking about it in Discord. But I digress. And right now I'm just giving tips of how to stay safe at one if you do happen to attend. That is all I'm doing. So I'm going to suggest that you know who is organizing the protest, and you can even contact them if you want information. Listen to your organizers. Alright, they usually share a safety plan before the rally. Trust your marshals. Do not trust cops. Hassan just feels differently. Yeah, well, Hassan has a lot more money than I do and can get away with more. So, do not put others at risk by rebelling. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, don't be the main character. Don't try to be main character. Like, oh, I'm gonna storm up in there and I'm going to cause a ruckus when it's a peaceful. If you're attending a peaceful protest, this is all tips for attending a peaceful protest organized by someone. If you are attending that, it already has organizers there. Do not put other people in harm's way by going up in there and acting crazy. Don't do that. You will get people shot. You can get people killed doing that. Do not do that. So putting that out there because I've seen people doing it and I'm like, don't be an idiot. Don't be stupid. This is called the don't be stupid rules. Let somebody know where you are going. That one's kind of iffy. Depends on the situation. I would say if you're attending just a peaceful protest, you can let a friend know, like, hey, I'm going to do this in case something happens. They know that where you were and they know where to locate you. Some people suggest to bring your phone. Some people say you shouldn't bring your phone. Some people recommend recording what's going on, but to turn off Face ID so that way if they have you like on your knees, they can't use your Face ID to unlock your phone and search it, because that's against your rights, by the way. They cannot search your phone like that without a warrant. The bro behind you is still waiting for cheap healthcare. Oh my god, Evelyn. Evelyn, you're Medicaid. Isn't it illegal to wear a mask without a medical reason in some states? They will look for reasons to arrest you. If it's in a group gathering, you can wear like a COVID mask and then just wear sunglasses or goggles because, oh, it's hot outside, it's bright outside, you know? You can get away with that. Some head coverings you can claim them as religious. So people can wear, you can claim it's religious. So, my medical reason, if pigs fit in armor, throw tear gas, I'd win, truly. I heard if you have Touch ID or Face Print ID, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. Turn off Touch ID, turn off Face ID. Turn it off, because they will try to use that to identify you. If they get you. So, wear a mask, COVID or gas. Now, people have gotten in trouble for getting gas masks because they thought that it was inciting violence. On the news, they reported it as inciting violence. It's not. You're trying to stay safe from inhaling tear gas, but be careful with that. I would bring one, maybe put it in your backpack. Just have it just in case. That way, if it's deployed and you gotta get away, don't run. Do not run away when something's happening. If you need to move from a location and it seems like things are getting a little rowdy, do not run. They will shoot. Walk with your hands up. And again, they may still hurt you. But that takes the responsibility off of you. It's really not smart to start running, and that causes panic. Other people might start running with you, or it could just make you an easy target. Don't run. Walk. Walk away. Do not try to be like people who like a song. They're in a privileged position where they're able to go be in public without attending protests. People about attending protests, they also interact with pigs, push boundaries a bit. do not repeat this. You are not in that privileged position. You are not press. And even the press are at risk. So imagine how much risk you'll be taking with it. Exactly. I like his soft content. I've talked about, like, I don't agree with everything he does, but I do watch. I watched when he was at the LA protest because it was nice to see live footage from down at the protest. Hassan, though, had a bulletproof vest that said press in big letters, right? Do not talk to cops like he did. No, don't do that. He was there for press, okay? He also had a bulletproof vest, stuff like that. He was able to walk around and show his face because people were going to recognize him anyway. Also, he's in a privileged position where they are not going to immediately arrest him upon recognizing him. I'm gonna head out since midnight, my country. Bye, Dragonwind. Thank you for being here. Those videos were awesome. Yes, I think those videos were great for showing you what's happening, and he did get in it. He was in the thick of it, and that's awesome. I'm glad that he did that. I'm glad he was showing that. But don't do what he did. Do not use him as your reference, okay? You can ask how you can help. You can contact the organizer. Oh yeah, avoid standing out, for sure. Going back to my list though, you can ask how you can help. You can talk to organizers. You can bring extra water for people. You know, bring extra signs. Because again, not every protest is going to be how it was in LA. Around me, in my area, they never got violent. There were never rubber bullets. There was not tear gas, anything like that. It was just people going out with their signs. Everyone was peaceful. The police monitored the situation, and it was fine. Atlanta was a different story. Savannah is a different story. You have to be just cautious about where you're going. Know your area. I don't think I wrote that down. Know the area you're going to. Figure out like a map or something. Like even bring a map with you, and just plan like, okay, I'm gonna park here. I'm gonna walk this way. When the time is done, I'm gonna go this way. Cover recognizable features like tattoos, brightly colored hair, of course. Yeah, that for sure. Stick to the march route / rally location. They're organized for a reason. Don't be stupid. That's what I wrote. Watch out for agitators. I talked about this earlier. Don't be an agitator, but also watch out for other agitators. Do not give them attention. Just go to the marshal. Let them know, like, hey, this person's over here doing this. Keep an eye on them. Because, again, having someone cause that much trouble could get you all shot. You have to be careful about that kind of stuff. Hunhouse, hello. We are talking about some protest tips. We just got done talking about the Big Booty Cheeks bill here in America. And now we are talking about some protesting tips for peaceful protesting in particular. Someone who's involved in yes, so the marshal is the one who organized your protest. Not all protests are going to be as organized. Again, I think a lot of people have been using the LA ones as an example. But honestly, a lot of your more local protests are not going to be like that. The stuff that's going on all over the country. Like the LA ones are an extreme. The same for Atlanta is an extreme. I'm saying the Atlanta one just because that's like that's up north Georgia, and I just know that that's where it's gotten the most hectic, I guess is a good word. Yeah, the No Kings protest was super calm. But yeah, typically in a protest not to that size and grand scale, you'll have a marshal, people who have organized the protest for you. For example, No Kings was a very organized thing, and you can just hang out with the marshal, stick with the marshal, and just let them know, like, hey, I think I see an agitator over there. Again, do not try to be a main character. Do not try to be a hero, because you will end up getting other people hurt. Think about the collective before you act. That, again, goes along, like, maybe... I saw in the LA protest, actually, there was a man on a motorbike driving slowly through the crowd. He drove up to the police and was kind of egging them on, and then was driving around. When tear gas was deployed, he just started booking it and making super, super loud noises, and it made him a target, and it made everyone around him egging him on a target, because people are like, oh, that's sick, yeah. It made them all targets. I don't know about dirt bike folk. I was watching a live stream and that happened, and I was watching a video of it. But yeah, it was I can't remember if it was Hassan or not. I think it was someone else I was watching where they were documenting it. And they were like, oh, we are about to get shot because of this man. Oh my god. And they had to, like, again, don't run. They walk to a different area. Huh. If you stay after the official protest ends, have a plan. So typically, an organized protest would have, snooze the ad, be quiet, would have a beginning time and an end time. And typically, a lot of people stay after that end time. And they'll say, yeah, let's just keep the vibes going. Sometimes it's a nice vibe. Sometimes it's, let's go smash a window in. If you are staying after that, be careful. Because things can get very quickly out of hand. It may have been the same guy. I just haven't seen the photo. Because that sounds about right. Just that they got curfews because of protest in LA is crazy to me. Yeah. I know. If you stay after the official protest, yep. Write emergency contact information and lawyer info on self. So I would recommend getting a permanent marker. Write down somebody that you trust. And honestly, I would write your lawyer's number as well in case they try to detain you. Police are usually the instigators. That was the last note I had, and I want to talk about that for a second, because I've heard from people saying, like, God, these protests, they're just getting so out of hand. These protesters, oh my gosh, they're so awful. They're in my way. They're so violent. It is typically not protesters who instigate violence. It is typically the police. The police are not your friends in these situations. They're the ones holding the guns aimed at you. Right? And again, I think people cannot fathom that until they're down there on the ground. And again, like the media will say, like, yeah, it's the protesters, look how awful they're being. They're distributing gas masks. How dare they? They must be planning something. No, it's because they have been tear gassed already. And they were trying to keep people safe. It is incredibly skewed. Until you're down there in it, I think it's hard for people to fathom that that's what's happening. That people are peacefully holding up signs and getting tear gassed, getting rubber bullets. And rubber bullets, while they are non-lethal, they can be lethal. One shot from it, maybe in a shoulder or something, might not kill you, might dislocate it, might not kill you, but people have been hit in the head with them, people have been hit in the eyes. They do not care. And they're not, police are not supposed to aim for the head, but they do. We have evidence. If you look at any of the live streams, the videos going on in the LA protest, in other major cities, they are aiming for people's heads, which can be lethal. Be careful. I remember when Minneapolis protests turning into riots, people thinking it was undercover officers who started. It typically is. I'm gonna be honest. I know that some people say, that's just an excuse. It typically is. And that's usually, again, when I mentioned about instigators, sometimes an instigator is not a protester. It's an undercover officer trying to rile people up, get them to react, to say, like, yeah, you know what, you're right, let's get angry. Why aren't we angrier? And then it turns into a riot, which leads to everyone getting tear gassed. Crazy surgeon who robs a store in LA, or the Weibo, there's 50 cops who shot people with rubber bullets. Exactly. And again, I understand the anger. I understand wanting to riot. But if you're going to do all that, don't do it with peaceful protesters around. Like, my word. Like, don't cause other people to get injured. Please. Never been told how the master has so many mistakes. They're lying oinks for friendship. Yeah, that's just some of the tips I wanted to share. Because I know we're talking about the bill. There are more protests coming up. If you were not involved in No Kings, or if you wanted to keep it going, I encourage you to peacefully protest wherever you can, and just to be smart, be safe, stay hydrated. It's a big one. And just keep researching and keep learning about what's going on in your country. And even if you don't live in America, stay educated on what's happening, because what happens here can affect you. So those are my tips for the day. That's my rant. We'll play the Michonne chapter. I'm probably going to take a second and, chill for a second.